Cape Cod Broadcasting weaves the listening environments of 99.9 WQRC, Ocean 104.7, WFCC Classical 107.5, Cape Country 104, and CapeCon.com's website experience to reflect the lifestyles of the people who live, work, and play on Cape Cod. We hope that you enjoy this podcast.
Welcome into the Sunday Journal. I'm your host, Matt Pitta. Thanks for being with us today. We get together each week to talk about issues facing Cape Cod, the islands, and all of southeastern Massachusetts. Welcome into the Sunday Journal. It's that time of year we like to get together with the Boys and Girls Club of Cape Cod to find out what's going on as they get ready for their fall programs. And a longtime friend is Ruth Provost, the Executive Director of the Boys and Girls Club of Cape Cod. Hi, Ruth. It's always good to see you.
Hi, Matt. Thank you for having me back.
Before we started, we were talking about how many years now you've been in the position.
I am in the middle of my 13th year. I've officially done 12.
That's great. How long has the club been around now?
The club's been around for 18 years in its location. It opened up a year prior to 1999 in rented space in an industrial park.
Mm-hmm. I remember the opening of the building you're in now. It's been a long time.
It's a great building. It's served the kids well. It's getting a little cramped, but it continues to do what it's supposed to do.
Well, congratulations on you said 13 years.
Well, 12 now. I'm 13,
going into your
13th.
13th. Sounds good. What we like to do at this time of year as we roll into the end of the summer and the beginning of the fall is talk about what's going on at the Boys and Girls Club because, as I said, Ruth, as we were arranging the interview, this is kind of a transition period for you and the organization. You're moving out of the summer programming. You just had an open house a couple of weeks ago on September 11th, and then you also had on Friday night, you had your teen night. Was it your teen?
Friday teen night was Friday night.
So we like to get together with you to talk about what's going on coming up in the fall. But before we do that, we always have a lot of new listeners and a lot of new folks coming and going from the Cape. So give us kind of the Cliff Notes version. What is the Boys and Girls Club all about?
The Boys and Girls Club is an after-school and summer program that is based on providing services for children. We're a drop-in program. The kids can come whenever they want to come, anytime from 2 until 8 or 10 at night. We serve any child who lives on Cape Cod, age 6 to 18. And they need to be in first grade. Our membership fee is only $100 for the entire school year. Our winter program is a drop-in program, as I said. We're open from 2 to 6 for kids in grades 1 through 6. We are open from 2 until 8 or 10 for our teens in grades 9 through 12. And our 7th and 8th graders who half the time don't know whether they're fishing or fowl, whether they're grown up or little kids, can choose between coming to the program at the clubhouse from 2 until 6 or going to the program for the teens, which runs at Mashpee High School from 2 until 6.
Is that $100 for the whole school year?
That is for the whole school year, and we are one of the more expensive Boys and Girls Clubs in the state. Actually,
really?
We were $75 last year. We're having trouble making budget. We actually put the fee up to $100 for our parents. We're starting to charge for half days and vacation days, but in reality, if a child comes to all of our programs, all the half days, all the vacation days, when we're open from 8:30 to 5, they would only be paying $300, which works out to about $1.63 a day. Which still keeps us very affordable. The reality is our teens sometimes have to pay their own membership fee, so our teen members actually only pay $10 this year. We went to 10.
So that seems like a very affordable price. If you were to pay for daycare anywhere else on the Cape, you're talking about tens of thousands of dollars for the most part, right?
And our mission is to serve the kids, not the parents per se. So we really make it so any kid can walk in the door at any time and feel that they can be part of the Boys and Girls Club.
So again, you open in the afternoon, right, when school's out, after school's out, right?
Right. We start at 2 and we end at 6 for the younger kids, and at 8 or 10 this next week is when the full teen program starts.
You were telling me that the number of kids coming has actually gone up, you said, right?
We take our census on December 31 every year. Last year we served 900 kids, age 6 to 18. This year we looked at our numbers last week, and we are 120 kids ahead of where we were at this time last year. That's the equivalent of about 5 or 6 classrooms full of kids, if you want to put that visually.
So that would potentially then, for the year put you over 1,000, depending on how
potentially could, depending
goes.
how the rest of the registration goes. We just hired a new teen director, and we know it takes the teens a while to warm up to a new person. His name is Matt Farrar. He has experience at the YMCA, actually, so he has a lot of youth development experience. And he's already been at the high school doing lunches and meeting kids. He wants to get out to the other schools, but any teen is welcome to come to our program and meet him and spend some time. We pretty much have free food on Fridays, too.
What's a typical day? I've been over to the facility. Someday I should go over and actually spend an afternoon and honestly just watch it to take it all in. So.
We'd invite you and anybody who would like to have a tour. In fact, it's come back to Boys and Girls Club Alumni Week, and I'm doing free tours of the club for any Boys and Girls Club alum, and anybody who calls ahead, I will give them a tour starting at 3:30.
So do this, Ruth. Take us through, maybe let me pick a couple of different ages. So your youngest is 8 years old, you said, right? So
that's correct.
What would be a typical day? An 8-year-old comes in after school. What's a typical afternoon of the Boys and Girls Club for an 8-year-old?
Well, first of all, the kids all have membership cards. Those are the kids' responsibilities, not the parents, because it's the child's membership and not the parents. So they have laminated cards. They have to have them with them. They get scanned in so we know they're there, and then they put their stuff away. We give every child that walks in the door a free snack. So they grab a snack, and then they can do homework from 2 until 4:30. They can go to the gym and play different physical fitness challenges. They can be part of the sports league. They can go into the art room and learn different art projects. Right now we have digital photography going on and fine arts programming. They can go outside and play on the playground. We have Foursquare and whatever the game is that you bat the ball around the pole. Tetherball.
Do you have cornhole now? That's so popular now.
We do have cornhole.
Everybody's playing cornhole these days.
We bring that out for special occasions. But the reality is we try and encourage them to get their homework done first. We have a tutor, free tutoring, and we have a teacher who helps them with their homework. So that's our biggest program and probably the most impactful program we have.
So let's say I'm a teen. You go up to 18 years old. So let's say I'm a 17-year-old. What would a typical 17-year-old be doing there?
A typical 17-year-old would probably wander into the teen room at Mashpee High School, sort of dragging in. They have a few books with them, and they'll flop down on the couch or the floor. They might get their homework done. There's laptops for them to use. But typically during the day, the teens pretty much hang out, talk. It's really when we do a lot of one-on-one mentoring with the teens. Our programs are back at the club starting at 6 for the teens, so we drive any teen that's still at the high school program, and it's open to anybody. We drive them back to the clubhouse at 6, and then we're open till 8 or 10 on Friday nights. And that's where the programs happen. We do job skills programming. There's free make a pizza night. I believe that's Tuesday nights. There's Iron Chef competitions. They can use the art room, the computer room. And again, you're a teenager. You just want to hang out with your buds. So we try not to be too intrusive. However, we make sure that they're supervised. We're totally drug and substance free, obviously. And they do have to mind their P's and Q's, but within reason.
Now, I see here also that in addition to that, you also are there to provide some tutoring and some MCAS and college application help for the teens.
We do. We actually are in the process right now. The new teen director, Matt, is trying to work with the teens because we really like the teens to be self-directed. You need to learn responsibility and you need to make choices for yourselves. So he's working with the teens right now to set up college visits. We will take our teens to visit any college campus that we can get to within reason. We've been to New York. We've been up to Maine. We'll take them anywhere we can drive them to because I think that's one of the most important things, to encourage kids to think early about their choices and how they're going to manage the finances of college and what suits them, a big city campus or a small rural campus.
If not for the Boys and Girls Club, and before this club, which opened, as you said, in the mid-'90s, right? Where would these kids be? I mean, a lot of them could be at risk, right? A lot of these kids could be at-risk youth on the Cape.
They could. 41% of our parents are single parents right now. They're working 1, 2, sometimes 3 jobs to keep a roof over their head. We all know what it's like on Cape Cod to find living quarters and maintain a family. So a lot of these kids would be going home alone, frankly. 23% of my families earn $20,000 a year or less. 60% would be eligible for free and reduced lunch. We're open to any kid, no matter what their family circumstances. But the reality is, for a lot of parents, finding affordable programming that actually has an impact on their kids' lives really makes a difference. And statistically speaking, our national organization tells us that 67% of Boys and Girls alums learned how to avoid drugs, alcohol, and trouble with the law at the Boys and Girls Club. 28% of our alums say they might have dropped out of high school if it weren't for the Boys and Girls Club and the one-on-one mentoring those kids got.
Ruth Provost is my guest today on the Sunday Journal. She is the executive director of the Boys and Girls Club of Cape Cod. We're talking about what's coming up this fall here at the Boys and Girls Club. There are a lot of temptations out on the streets these days for the kids on the Cape. Kind of the normal trouble we all used to get into, but, you add in all this drug epidemic that we're dealing with. There's just they need to be in a location like yours.
My biggest pride and, frankly, joy is our teen program. On Friday nights, we get between 100 to 150, sometimes over 200 teens at the program, doing whatever, a dance, whatever the activity is, hanging out, eating food. We always feed them food, and teens are almost synonymous. And the reality is those kids vote with their feet. They're choosing to be in an adult-supervised place, which tells me that when there is one and it's drug-free and it's safe, that's where the teens will choose to go.
So what's coming up this fall? What type of any special programs? What events are you going to be highlighting at the Boys and Girls Club?
We're running some great programs right now. Our fitness program, every day there's a different challenge: foursquare, jumping rope, basketball. Did you know that our kid has the record for hula hooped for over an hour and a half?
What?
Seriously, to get that
Guinness
record.
Book of World Record? Or is
it should be. It's in our Book of World Records.
How long?
An hour and a half.
On a hula hoop?
On a hula hoop.
It's tiring.
It's ridiculous, but that's what they did. We've got geocaching coming up, flag football. We have Lego builders. We have our character and leadership programs forming for kids in 11 to 13 and then 14 to 18. And those are programs where the kids have to do community service. They do some peer counseling. They have fun, and they run programs at the club.
Let's talk hard facts here. A lot of this, what you're talking about, these are programs that cost money, Ruth. So,
they are.
And, you are a nonprofit organization. You're not getting big federal dollars. You're not getting big state dollars, right?
No, we get a competitive grant from the DPH Youth at Risk line item, and that's my state funding.
So that means you got to go out to the community.
We do. 27% of our funds comes from grants, but the rest has to come from me going out and asking people to support what we do. And we don't have cute furry animals. There's no natural disaster here on Cape Cod right now, thank God, knock on wood. But what we do have is we have 900 living, breathing Cape Cod local children who need a safe place to go after school in the summer. And our budget to support those kids, it's not excessive. It costs us about $800 a year per child to maintain the program for them and the funding and everything else we do. But the reality is when you have 900 kids at that rate, that adds up quickly. Our budget's $773,000 a year. We ran a small deficit at the end of last year. We have been going through our reserves since the recession. So we really are reaching out to the community in a big way and saying, you know what, if you're going to give to someplace else, please consider giving to our children right here at home as well.
I know you always have fundraising events throughout the year. What's on tap? Anything on tap for the fall?
Got some great stuff coming up. We have actually some local businesses have jumped in to try and help us. B&L Floor Covering in Mashpee on 28. It's giving 100% of their sales to the Boys and Girls Club October 10th, which is a Saturday. We have a Pins for Kids bowling coming up.
All right.
And the Brotherhood of the Falmouth Jewish Congregation are running that for us. And people can sign up to bowl from 1 to 2 or 2 to 3. There's going to be free pizza, cash bar, lots of drinks, some free tokens to play at the arcade, a silent auction. That is going to be so much fun. And that's a family event. Groups of up to 6 can come and register and bowl. And if you're single, we'll put you with someone. And that's really affordable. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then we have our signature. This is probably the most fun road race on Cape Cod coming up. It's on Halloween this year. It's always the Saturday before or right on Halloween. It's called Screech at the Beach. It runs through New Seabury from the Raw Bar.
Okay.
And if you've ever been to the Raw Bar, you know what I'm talking about.
Been to the Raw Bar.
Yes, most people have. It's pretty exciting. And you run along the beach in the fall leaves. It's absolutely glorious. We encourage people to come in costume and run in costume. There are prizes for the best costumes as well as different race categories. So it really is fun. And then we have a website set up for it, but it's $25 online and $30 day of the race. And then, of course, there's lots of food, free food, drinks and stuff.
Nice.
At the end.
So clearly you need some help throughout the fall. As you said, budgets are tough right now. So as people are listening to this and you believe in what's happening, and you should, because this really is such a great organization. It's helping out so many kids. And even though you're in Mashpee, you're not just helping Mashpee kids. You have kids from across the Cape.
We do have kids from across the Cape. During school vacation weeks, we're open from 8 until 5:30. We're open on half days for Mashpee and Sandwich. And during the school vacation weeks in the summer in particular is when we get a mix in. We primarily, because of transportation down here and geography, serve Barnstable to the canal. So Barnstable, Bourne, Sandwich, Falmouth, and Mashpee are our main service area. Because we're in Mashpee, about half of my 900 kids are from Mashpee, but then we get about 100 from each of the surrounding towns. And in the summer, because we're on the way to 495, people that work on 495 corridor, they come, they drop the kids off on the way to work, and they pick them up on the way home during the summer months.
Now, I know that there's been talk about this, perhaps, if my memory serves me correct, about any type of expansion down Cape. But I know it's probably a dream right now, but what thoughts do you have about future expansion?
I would love to expand down to the Lower Cape. There's a huge need. And, in fact, I'm meeting with a group next week from Harwich who have an interest in talking about it. I've met with people from down. I think one of the things that gets discouraging is, you can't have children in a site without having supervision. So that requires a paid staff. Volunteers are wonderful, and we depend on them. And in fact, if anyone's listening wants to come help tutor, we'd be glad to have you. But if you have X number of kids and we have 155 a day show up, you really need to know you have proper supervision. So you have to have a budget to support them, and then you need a place to have them come that's safe and accessible. So we are hoping to have, a group formed down on the Lower Cape that would be willing to do the fundraising, because that really is the key piece.
I know that being a resident down that end of the Cape, there's a huge need for this type of very affordable after-school care. I mean, it really is in such high demand down there.
And since the juice bar closed, we're the only full teen program, I believe, left on the Cape. It's a hike for those teens, even for the ones that have cars from the Lower Cape to get up there. I do want to say, though, that the Regional Transit Authority, the local bus service here on the Cape, has routes that all tie into Mashpee Commons, which is right near where our club is. We're right across the street from Mashpee Commons. And they will, if a kid gets on the bus and says they're coming to the Boys and Girls Club, they'll go to the regular Mashpee stop. Then they will bring them directly to the Boys and Girls Club. Ruth
Provost is the Executive Director of the Boys and Girls Club of Cape Cod. Ruth, phone numbers and email, or rather websites for people for more information.
They can reach us at 508-477-8845. Again, that's 477-8845, or on our website. You can Google Boys and Girls Club Cape Cod, and it's info@boysgirlsclubcapecod.org.
Ruth, thanks so much. Good to see you. We'll see you in a few months.
Thank you, Matt.
Have a great fall.
Much.
You're listening to the Sunday Journal. I'm your host, Matt Pitt.
This podcast is a presentation of Cape Cod Broadcasting, which is solely responsible for its content. Thank you for listening. For more information, please visit us at capecodbroadcasting.com.